So, I did a video. If you haven't watched it, guys, I recommend you watch it. Which was a few days ago. I was looking at the futures market because it's quite interesting to look at the futures market because institutions trade it, and it's quite useful to know where the kind of key levels are. And on that video, I kind of identified various different things that, a slightly different analysis to what I'm going to do now, where, 50,000 is very, very plausible before, the buyers might step in. And now I've kind of just brought this up. Now, ordinarily, I'd kind of get rid of these lines to make this a little bit simpler for people, but I'm going to keep them in because I think they're quite useful. And I'll explain some of the things that I'm looking at and why I think Bitcoin potentially will go down to this zone down here before some serious buying comes back in. Now, of course, this is just technical analysis. This is just based on probabilities and what I see right now. The markets can do something. They can do anything. But right now, there's quite an interesting little development. And I want to share it with you right now. So let me get my pen out. And there's a couple of things that I want you to make note of that are going to be important. So one of those things is the 50 moving average, which is the red line. Okay, so this is a very, very common moving average that people use and institutions use. And so we want to know where the market is relative to that. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just remove the drawings. We'll keep the indicators on. So let's remove the drawings and just clean it up a little bit. So you can see here quite clearly, this is the red line. Okay, and so what we want to see in a bullish scenario, we want to see the price above that red line. And when you're kind of below it, the next level you're looking at is the green line, which is the 200 moving average here. So if you find the price in between the two, this is kind of a phase where it's almost like it's part consolidation. It's part, we're not in a strong trend anymore. We are in a in-between, right? And it's trying to find its feet. So there's kind of a battle going on between the bulls and bears. And that's where we've kind of find ourselves, because we've basically cleared this red line, this 50 moving average, and that completely opens the door to going and testing this 200 moving average here. Now, for those that are my students and are looking at this and understand how the fibs work, they'd also be able to see something else here. And it's very, very interesting. So these are the current Fibonacci. And we have basically got a situation where the market is essentially doing an A-B. So if I just show you, it's easier on MT4, but this is basically our current A-B. Okay. Market goes up fast, consolidates, tries to go up fast. This here is called our fade zone. Okay, so our students know that. And what that means is that there's a high probability chance that in this box, the market is going to go back to this red line here. It's 38.2. In fact, it's a 90% chance. Okay. Now, just to kind of be transparent with people, the 90% chance is based on data that is in other markets as well as cryptos now. So this is not just based specifically to Bitcoin. This is overall, if the market basically enters this zone up here without going back to this red zone, there's a 90% chance it's going to go back to the red zone first before making a higher high, okay, and ultimately going to this target. So what's interesting about that, guys? Well, have a look. That 38.2 is exactly where our 200 moving average is. Now, the other thing that's important here to understand is that the 200 moving average is important just by default. But it's actually also, in this case, it's important by the fact that the market is actually reacting. So you have 1, 2, 3 scenarios where the market comes down to the 200 moving average and actually reacts. So by default, people look at the 200 moving average as a level of dynamic support. And by the fact that the market is reacting there, This to me looks like the ideal zone to start initiating your buys again into Bitcoin. So that's only half the picture, by the way. We haven't finished. So let's talk about something else here. So let's go back over here and have a look at something. So the market did this over here, right? What's it doing, guys? You can just shout it out in your living room, wherever you're watching. So it's making higher highs, higher lows, right? So look at that. And then this low gets taken out right here. We jump up, we create a lower high, and then bang, the market goes down. Now, what's happened here? The market is making higher highs, higher lows, higher high, higher low, higher high. Look at that. Can everyone see? This low has been taken out. This low has been taken out. Now, here's the thing that you want to kind of watch out for here. Are we going to get a dead cat rally? So basically a rally that looks like it's going to, go, the market's going to go back up and then potentially push back down. That's a possible scenario. And we'll kind of explore something there. The other scenario is that we just go down from here and potentially test that this level here, and then we can look at potentially buying them. Okay, but this is also a plausible scenario, and I'm going to show you how to prepare for that. So let me show you a couple of things here to prepare us. There's one thing that I want to know, right? The last time we did this, so if it is going to pull back, let's have a look and see what happened last time. How did it pull back? Well, it basically, if we take the high to low, here's what it did. Okay, so we want to know, where did it pull back to? So if we have this kind of move up, it went back to this orange line. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to draw our fibs from where we are right now in case we do go back. And I'm going to mark down two levels. The 61.8 and the orange line right there. This is the zone that you have to look out for. If Bitcoin rallies, okay, this is where resistance might come in. So don't FOMO in here. That doesn't make any sense. If you're average buying in, fine. You can start to buy here. That's not a problem. Or you can try and wait for the better price. We can't guarantee it's going to happen because this is Bitcoin, guys, and anything can happen. Something crazy gets announced and suddenly this analysis doesn't make any sense anymore and Bitcoin's up, right? And it's done that. So, we can't predict the future, but what we can do is we can definitely make good predictions based on probability and then react. So now this could happen, right? We could push up to here and then still fall and go and meet this 90% trade. And what I also love about this zone as a buy zone is, let me put this horizontal line in here, guys. Now, what do you guys see? I'm going to make this a double line. Right. Can everyone see that this is a really, really nice reactive zone here, right? Look at the way the market, even here, consolidates in that zone. Even here, reacts as resistance, breaks through, fake breakout. Look how it comes back and then goes back there. The market likes this zone. What zone is that? It's the 50,000 to 48,000 zone. Okay. I'd imagine looking at this analysis, guys, you're probably now thinking, actually, this looks more probable than it going higher from here. That's what I can see. And we can also connect our trend line. Look at that. So now you've got a potential move into this trend line, into this block, and then this becomes the ideal buy zone. Okay. Now, we've seen what's happened before. Am I expecting that? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to do this, right? Is it possible? Of course, anything's possible. You can't be, that's why we say don't be over leveraged. Don't bet all your eggs on this and don't put all your eggs in one basket, because you have to be prepared that this is a game of chess and the opposing player is going to do whatever they can to win at this game. So we can't predict what's going to happen, but we can make good decisions. And so buying a little bit here makes a little bit of sense. Buying here as your main position can make a lot of sense. Of course, if this then breaks this, now you're starting to get worried, right? Now we're starting to get worried, because I think this here is kind of my, well, this and a fake breakout here. This is kind of my, well, let's call it up to here, the 618, right? That's what I would say, up to here. If we start to break through this, now would be concerned. That's when my concern would come in, and concerned in the sense that, yeah, this is no longer a bull market, and the market is likely to just consolidate lower. But we can't plan, we can't trade that, we can't invest in that until it happens, and we have to be prepared that that's not going to happen, and we're ready to push higher. Okay, so that's what I'm preparing for.
Cool.
So I want to do one more thing, Gavin, if that's okay. Very quick.
Sure.
Yeah. So one last thing I want to do here.
Actually, before you go there, let's just check in with everybody, seeing that they're keeping up, because this is,
make sure they give us some likes.
Yeah,
otherwise we'll stop here.
This is gold. A professional trader giving you these professional zones, and we've only got 5 likes and hearts. That's ridiculous for the amount of people.
I'm going to stop, mate. I'm leaving.
I think you should. Throw a diva hissy fit. However, whilst people are coming to their senses, because they're just bamboozled by your Bitcoin knowledge bombs. That's all it is. We're up to 7. Come on, guys. At least double figures. Otherwise, we are going to go off air. However, so we've got 2 scenarios right now. The first one is that we have a rally. It goes up to that 63, 65 mark, and then drops back down. But obviously that's only valid until if it breaks through that resistance and then forms support, then we don't know. It could go up to 100K. We don't know. But that's where that validity of that theory is, right? Then the second theory is, and we don't know how it's going to get there, but it comes back down to the 38.2. And that obviously has got more confluence because it's got the 200 EMA, and we've got that really nice trend line there. That gives us our 3 checklist, and that, if it gets there, would be a higher probability, lower risk investment point, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'll show you the next step as well. But the thing that you want to think about now, so I've given you the breakdown. So you should now you've got really useful information now. But the next step for you is to say, okay, well, how do I plan this? Like, how do I make money from this? So the reality is that, yes, you could buy it here, but for me, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, even if it does indeed rally up to here, because you're kind of buying in the middle of nowhere. And it wouldn't surprise me if Bitcoin just pushed up and went to there, but it doesn't quite make sense. Now, if somebody was buying down here, what I like about here is that if we were here in this block, that you've got a really so if this just happens like that, right? You've got a really natural place where you could be thinking about placing your stop, right? This is more for traders. For investors, yeah, it's fine. It's great. It's a great place to sort of start adding your position in. But for traders, you know, you could literally let the market come down, and you could just place your stop there. I mean, if you want to be a bit concerned, some people would go even tighter, right? But it depends what your target is. Like, you know, we're not going to get into that deeply now, but the great thing about buying at this kind of zone is that you can go in with a very low risk and make a lot of money based on the fact that you've got the perfect entry. Now, the more conservative approach, for those that think, oh, I don't want to buy it when it's falling down because I'm nervous that it's going to keep going down, right? And we have people that feel like that. I'm not one of those. That I love buying when it's falling. That's kind of when I jump in. And sometimes Bitcoin is crazy and it will just, you know, run through my stop, and it can happen. So it's a certain way of trading, which is kind of high risk, high reward. Here's what institutions are partly doing, like from what I've been reading. They're not bidding on the limit. They are bidding at highs right now. A lot of institutions are not sure where the floor is going to be, and they're actually putting buy stops in higher rather than putting in limit orders lower. Because I don't want to get stung. I mean, they're playing with millions, billions, you know, depending on who it is. So here's the thing that you want, if you want to have a conservative approach. I've referenced this block here. Now, this is going to be slightly different. It's going to change potentially because I'm taking this high to low. But this here is an area of interest. And so if, let's say this market goes up and goes here, and let's say there's a lot of interest here for selling, right? And they're trying to sell it, but they lose, and that happens. Well, this block here becomes the perfect buy block now. So you can either just jump in because you're now free to go, or what a lot of people will do is I'll stick a limit order there and then just buy it up. So they buy on strength. So you don't have to sit through all this drawdown. Obviously, it means you're paying a much higher price. Okay, you're paying 68K instead of potentially 50K. So that's the cost. Now, the last thing I'm going to do here, Gavin, because I know we don't want to take up the whole session just on Bitcoin, is I'm just going to quickly plot my fibs. So we have an A, B, C, D, and then we have a current A, B, C, D. So we have an A, B, C. The market's pulled back to its 38, and the target, according to the Fibonacci, is the red line. Look at where it is, right now. Wow, how amazing is that? That's around 48,750, guys. And that just looks so plausible. Like, take that liquidity out, take those 50,000 orders, because that's such a key level. Just like take them out and then bounce. You know, like almost like there'll be people buying at 50,000 with a tight stop, and I could just imagine it sort of just liquidating them, going to this resistance point, and then potentially bouncing and going higher. But from a trading point of view, this is the beauty about trading. You can make money just trading this and not worry about the long-term view. So if you put a buy order here, for example, now this is not investment advice. I have to say that because people do crazy things. They listen to what I say and then they'll go put their mortgage on it. Like, you know, I can't guarantee anything. But if you did put a buy order here, there's a high probability you're going to get a really nice bounce. And that's all you need as a trader to make money, a bounce. So like, let's say you've got two guys, trader, investor. Investor buys. Okay, great, it's bounced. Brilliant. Andy was right. Oh, actually it's gone down. So you're now losing money. Trader, great, it's bounced. Target hit, out, banged. So neither is right or wrong. I'm just saying the trader can be nimble. He can get out and take his money and then use that money for something else. Okay, maybe Black Friday shopping, who knows?
If they're smart. If they
come to London Trading Institute. But no, I think that's it, guys. Hopefully that's given you some good insights. Keep an eye on this, take a screenshot, or you can watch the replay and take a screenshot. And I would recommend that you just plot this stuff on your own charts, stick some alerts in, and and then you'll have to adjust this. If this obviously breaks the low, then this will be slightly different. But it just looks at the moment that it might just go down, so it probably go up. That's just what Bitcoin does.
Wise words, profound words about Bitcoin there. I reckon we should check in. Let's do an update on this and see where the price action goes over the next couple of days.
Yes, we'll jump in and have a look.
And if you guys are about, that's awesome.